Something in you is exhausted from calling struggle love, effort, faith, discipline, or commitment when what it has really become is a constant fight against the natural flow of your own life. You can feel it, even if you have not said it out loud. The overthinking, the checking, the tightening in your chest when an answer does not come fast enough. The way your mind keeps reaching for one more explanation, one more plan, one more perfect move that will finally make things soften. And underneath all of that is a quieter ache, the ache of wanting relief without feeling like you failed, the ache of wanting to rest without fearing that everything will fall apart the moment you stop holding it up. This is where so many people live for years, not in dramatic collapse, not in obvious crisis, just in a low, steady war with life, pushing for clarity, pushing for love, pushing for certainty, pushing for a sign, a shift, a breakthrough. And because the world praises effort, you may have learned to call this strength. You may have learned to think tension means you care. You may have learned to believe that the more deeply you want something, the harder you should grip it. But your body knows the difference between devotion and strain. Your body knows when desire has turned into chasing. Your body knows when hope has turned into obsession. Your body knows when faith has turned into fear wearing a spiritual outfit. And that is the truth. This message is asking you to face with tenderness. The fight is not proving your worth. The fight is not making you more deserving. The fight is not bringing your deepest good any closer. For many people, the fight is the very thing blocking what they long to receive. That can sound almost offensive when you are tired and trying. It can sound naive. It can sound like one more pretty sentence that ignores how hard life can be. So stay with me here. Surrender is not pretending pain is not real. It is not becoming passive. It is not handing your life over to chance. It is not sitting in a corner whispering affirmations while your responsibilities stack up like unpaid emotional invoices. Surrender is something much more honest than that. Surrender is the moment you stop using force as your only language. It is the moment you loosen your grip on what is not responding. It is the moment you stop bargaining with closed doors. It is the moment you stop believing that panic is a form of progress. And in that softening, something remarkable begins to happen. You become available to clarity, available to peace, available to the kind of connection that does not require performance, available to what has been waiting for you on the other side of all that inner noise. Who surrenders first wins everything does not mean the weakest person gets rewarded. It means the person who stops fighting reality first is the person who gets their life back. It means the one who puts down the exhausting costume of control is the one who can finally receive what cannot enter clenched hands. That is the paradox. You think the grip keeps you safe, but the grip is what keeps you tired. You think surrender means loss. But healthy surrender often becomes the doorway to self-respect, calm, and a very different kind of power. So let me say something clearly. You are not failing because you are tired of forcing. You may simply be arriving at the moment where your soul is done confusing pressure with devotion. Most people do not start fighting life because they are foolish. They start because somewhere along the way, they learned that control feels safer than trust. If you grew up around unpredictability, emotional inconsistency, criticism, or the feeling that love had to be earned, then of course surrender feels dangerous. Of course your nervous system reaches for strategies. Of course you monitor, anticipate, fix, over-prepare, and rehearse. Those behaviors did not come from weakness. They came from adaptation. You learned that if you stayed alert, maybe you could prevent pain. If you explained yourself well enough, maybe you could avoid rejection. If you did more, maybe you could secure love. If you worried enough, maybe you could be ready when things went wrong. And because these patterns often start early, they can feel like personality. They can feel like identity. You may call yourself responsible, deep, loyal, ambitious, committed, careful. And maybe you are all those things. But beneath those qualities, there may also be a frightened part of you that still believes rest is risky. That frightened part is not bad. It does not need shame. It needs understanding. Because here is what most people miss. The urge to force is usually not about the thing itself. It is about the fear of what the thin G seems to mean. A delayed message can feel like abandonment. A closed door can feel like unworthiness. A season of uncertainty can feel like failure. So you are not only reacting to what is happening now, you are reacting to what your body remembers, what your mind predicts, and what your heart is afraid this moment might confirm. That is why simply telling yourself to let go rarely works. Your system hears let go and thinks unsafe. Your body hears relax and thinks unprepared. Your mind hears surrender and thinks lose. So the shift has to be gentler than that. It has to include your body, your emotions, and your beliefs. It has to feel like an opening, not a command. This is also why so many people stay trapped in exhausting cycles even when they know better. Insight alone does not dissolve fear. You can understand the pattern beautifully and still find yourself checking, chasing, fixing, and tightening. Not because you are incapable of change, but because the part of you that grips is trying to protect you from old pain with outdated tools. It is like trying to hold water in a fist. The harder you squeeze, the less you actually keep. And yet the fist keeps insisting, maybe more pressure this time, maybe more control, maybe more effort. Meanwhile, your whole being is whispering, there has to be another way. There is. And it begins with a simple framework I want to offer you today. I call it the open hands shift. Not because it is fancy, not because it is complicated, but because that image says everything. You cannot receive with clenched hands. You cannot welcome peace while gripping panic like it is a job requirement. You cannot notice what is truly aligned while chasing what keeps running from you. Open hands are not empty because they gave up. Open hands are ready. Open hands are discerning. Open hands are no longer confusing tension with love. The open hands shift has 3 gentle steps. The first step is release the chase. The second step is soften the signal. The third step is receive the calm. Release the chase means noticing where you are trying to force movement through pressure. This is not about doing nothing. It is about stopping the behaviors that come from fear rather than truth. The extra text, the mental rehearsing, the endless decoding, the compulsive need to settle everything right now. It is the willingness to pause before you pursue what is not meeting you halfway. Soften the signal means changing the energy you are broadcasting to yourself and to life. When you are frantic inside, you often send a signal of scarcity, fear, and urgency. You tell yourself that if this does not happen now, something is wrong with you. Softening the signal means returning to steadiness. It means letting your body know you are still safe even in uncertainty. It means choosing thoughts, words, and actions that come from self-respect rather than panic. Receive to he. Calm means learning to trust what arrives without struggle. This is where many people get uncomfortable because chaos can feel more familiar than peace. Calm can seem boring when your system is used to adrenaline. Mutuality can feel suspicious when you've been trained on inconsistency. So this step is about recognizing that what is truly meant for you often comes with more ease, more clarity, and more dignity than you expected. That is the framework, very simple, very human, and powerful precisely because it asks less performance from you, not more. Now I know what you might be thinking. This sounds beautiful, but what do I actually do with it when my emotions are loud and my habits are strong? Start small, always small. When you notice yourself chasing, do not make that another reason to criticize yourself. Just pause. Put your phone down for 60 seconds. Unclench your jaw. Let your shoulders drop 1 inch. Ask yourself one honest question. Am I reaching from clarity or am I reaching from fear? That question alone can interrupt an old pattern. Try this in ordinary moments. When you want to send the fourth message explaining your heart in 15 different angles, pause. When you want to check whether someone has viewed, liked, replied, noticed, confirmed, approved, or spiritually winked at your existence, pause. When you want to demand an answer from life before life has even had a chance to exhale, pause. The pause is not punishment. The pause is power returning. Then move into the second step. Soften the signal. Place a hand on your chest or your stomach and say something simple and believable. I do not need to force this moment to be safe. I can let today be incomplete without making myself the problem. I can want something deeply without gripping it desperately. These are not magic words. They are nervous system instructions. They help your body recognize that uncertainty is uncomfortable, yes, but not automatically catastrophic. Another small experiment is to change one behavior that usually carries urgency. Walk slower to the next room. Sip your tea without multitasking. Wait 5 extra minutes before replying when you feel activated. Sit by a window and notice whether your breathing changes when you stop trying to solve your whole life before lunch. Tiny acts of non-forcing teach your system a new rhythm. And let us be honest for a second. Some of you are trying to manage the universe like an unpaid assistant manager with no vacation days. You are refreshing outcomes in your mind every 12 seconds, as if existence will suddenly say, "Oh wow, look at that excellent anxiety. Let me reward it immediately." Darling, no, I say that with love. Your worry is sincere, but it is not a management strategy. Humor matters here because seriousness can become another form of gripping. Sometimes you need to smile gently at your own patterns so you can loosen them without shame, not mock yourself, not dismiss your pain, just recognize the humanity of it. You learned strange things to survive. We all did. Some people clench their jaw, some people overwork, some people become detectives in relationships. Some people try to intuit the future from 3 punctuation marks and a delayed reply. Very human, very exhausting, and not your fault, but it can become your responsibility to soften. Practical action does not have to look dramatic. Here is one experiment for release the chase. Pick one area of your life where you know you are over-pursuing. Maybe it is a person. Maybe it is constant validation. Maybe it is certainty about your future. For the next 24 hours, remove one chasing behavior, only one. Do not overcorrect. Do not make a grand vow. Just remove one act of pressure and observe what happens inside you. The discomfort you feel is information, not failure. Here is one experiment for soften the signal. Create a return phrase you can use when your mind starts spiraling. Something like, "What is mine does not need my panic," or "I can stay open without abandoning myself," or "Calm is not the absence of desire, it is the presence of trust." Choose a phrase that feels kind, not grand. Repeat it when you feel urgency rising. Let it become a bridge back to yourself. Here is one experiment for receive the calm. At the end of the day, write down 3 moments that felt easy in a healthy way. A conversation that did not drain you, a decision that felt clear, a moment of stillness that did not ask anything from you. Train your attention to notice what does not require struggle. Many people have spent so long studying tension that they no longer recognize peace when it appears. This matters in relationships, it matters in work, it matters in creativity, it matters in spiritual life, because forcing often feels productive while receiving can feel unfamiliar. Yet some of the most important shifts in life happen when you stop trying to wring certainty out of places that cannot offer it. You stop pleading with confusion to become clarity. You stop negotiating with inconsistency. You stop selling your nervous system to every temporary fear. And here is where the deeper change begins. You start to understand that surrender is not just about external outcomes. It is also about the version of you that has been exhausted from performing readiness, worthiness, and control. Surrender is the release of that performance. Maybe you have been performing strength by never needing. Maybe you have been performing patience while resentment quietly grows underneath. Maybe you have been performing spirituality by pretending everything is fine when your body is screaming for rest. Maybe you have been performing detachment while secretly checking for signs. There is no shame in this, but there is freedom in naming it. You do not need to perform peace to become peaceful. You do not need to act unbothered to be worthy of calm. You do not need to earn receiving by proving how long you can survive without it. That last one matters because many people unconsciously make a religion out of endurance. They think if they tolerate enough confusion, enough neglect, enough uncertainty, enough self-abandonment, then eventually life will hand them a medal and say, "Congratulations, now you may rest." But life does not always work like that. Sometimes the invitation to rest comes first. Sometimes self-respect comes before resolution. Sometimes the lesson is not how much more you can hold. Sometimes the lesson is whether you can finally put something down. So let this sink in. You are allowed to stop gripping what hurts. You are allowed to stop translating mixed signals into hope. You are allowed to stop calling emotional overexertion devotion. You are allowed to leave the inner courtroom where you keep arguing your case for why you should be chosen, answered, reassured, or understood. You are allowed to want deeply without collapsing around what you want. You are allowed to be a person with a soft heart and strong boundaries. And most of all, you are allowed to stop proving your worth through tension. This is the permission moment, and I want to stay here long enough for your body to hear it. You do not need to fight for every good thing that enters your life. You do not need to chase what is meant to meet you in mutuality. You do not need to stay in a state of internal emergency to show the universe, another person, or even yourself that you are serious. You can be sincere without being frantic. You can be devoted without being depleted. You can care without carrying the entire emotional weight of the outcome. If something in you is tired, listen. Not every tiredness means quit, but some tiredness means enough. Enough forcing, enough explaining, enough waiting in the posture of self-abandonment, enough mistaking adrenaline for passion, enough confusing fear with intuition, enough kneeling at the altar of maybe. You can stand up now. You can take your worth with you. You can let the unanswered remain unanswered for today without making yourself smaller in the process. You can stop reaching toward what only responds to your exhaustion. You can step back from the edge of constant emotional labor and let your life meet you somewhere kinder. That is not weakness, that is wisdom, that is maturity, that is spiritual honesty, because the deepest surrender is not surrendering your value. It is surrendering the false belief that your value must be proven through strain. And here is what opens when you do. Your discernment sharpens. You begin to notice what feels clean and what feels costly. You notice which conversations leave your body settled and which leave it scattered. You notice where you have been trying to harvest peace from barren ground. You notice where your own fear has been making noise so loud that you cannot hear the quieter truth beneath it. You also begin to reclaim energy. So much energy returns when you stop micromanaging outcomes that were never asking for your management. That energy can go toward your creativity, your rest, your friendships, your prayer, your healing, your work, your laughter, your actual life. Not the life in your head that only begins after everything is resolved. The life that is here, now, waiting for your presence. There is another layer to this that matters deeply. Sometimes what you call surrender is actually grief. Grief that the thing you wanted is not arriving the way you hoped. Grief that someone could not meet you where you stood with an honest heart. Grief that your own effort did not produce the safety you were promised it would. And grief can make you want to grab harder, because grabbing feels easier than mourning. If I keep trying, you tell yourself, then maybe I do not have to feel the loss. But there is such freedom in allowing yourself to tell the truth. This hurts, this disappointed me, this mattered to me, I wanted this. I still might want this. And I am no longer willing to destroy my peace in order to avoid feeling sad. That honesty changes everything, because then surrender stops being a dramatic gesture and becomes a sacred form of self-respect. You are no longer saying, I do not care. You are saying, I care, and I will not abandon myself in the caring. That is a powerful distinction. When you abandon yourself in the caring, you override your limits, you dismiss your body, you tolerate confusion, you volunteer your spirit for overtime without consent, you stay available to what keeps draining you, because part of you believes leaving the struggle would mean betraying your own hope. But hope does not ask for self-erasure. Healthy hope has room for truth. Healthy hope can sit beside boundaries. Healthy hope does not need you to become smaller to keep it alive. So when you practice the open hands shift, do not only watch your behaviors, watch your definitions. Ask yourself what you have been taught to call love. Ask yourself what you have been taught to call commitment. Ask yourself whether your idea of faith includes gentleness or only endurance. Ask yourself whether your version of strength has any room for softness, receptivity, stillness, and honest limits. Sometimes the old pattern survives because it has been decorated with noble language. You call it loyalty, but it is fear of letting go. You call it standards, but it is hypervigilance. You call it patience, but it is self-abandonment, stretched thin and dressed up beautifully. No judgment, just truth. And truth, when offered gently, can feel like fresh air entering a room that has been closed too long. Try one more experiment. The next time you feel urgency rise, do not ask first, how do I make this happen? Ask, what would keep me connected to myself right now? That question interrupts the trance of force. Maybe the answer is silence. Maybe it is a walk. Maybe it is choosing not to send anything tonight. Maybe it is prayer. Maybe it is sleep, which is deeply spiritual and rarely gets enough credit. Sometimes the holiest thing you can do is stop trying to resolve your entire existence after 10 p.m. And as you practice this, you may notice a strange thing. What once felt unbearably empty begins to feel spacious. What once felt like losing control begins to feel like returning to center. What once felt like doing nothing begins to feel like making room for reality to reveal itself. That is not passive. That is participation without panic. That is wisdom with its shoulders lowered. That is the kind of inner posture that can finally hear what frantic striving kept drowning out. And from that posture, choices grow cleaner. Your no becomes kinder. Your yes becomes truer. Your waiting feels less desperate. Desire softens too, no longer chained to fear. This does not mean every unanswered desire instantly resolves. It does not mean every relationship suddenly becomes mutual or every dream arrives by sunset. It means something more grounded than that. It means you stop adding unnecessary suffering to what is already uncertain. It means you stop making panic the price of participation. It means you begin to trust that what aligns with your peace will not require the destruction of it. Stay with that line. What aligns with your peace will not require the destruction of it. For many people, that one sentence changes the whole standard. Because now the question is not only, do I want this? The question becomes, can this meet me without demanding my constant self-betrayal? Can this exist in my life without pulling me away from myself? Can I remain open and dignified here? Or does this dynamic only function when I am anxious, overextended, and endlessly available to confusion? These are sacred questions, and they lead you back to the center. That center is not numbness. It is not detachment in the cold sense. It is warm, awake, connected presence. It is the place in you that can love without clinging. It is the place in you that can hope without begging. It is the place in you that can release with tears in your eyes and still know you are not losing yourself. In fact, you may be finding yourself there. Now let me bring this full circle. Who surrenders first wins everything does not mean you beat someone else to the finish line. It means you stop competing with reality. You stop wrestling the lesson, the timing, the truth, the silence, the ending, the uncertainty. You stop demanding that life becomes safe on your terms before you allow yourself to breathe. And in that surrender, you receive things that force could never give you. You receive self-trust. You receive clearer vision. You receive the ability to recognize peace when it stands in front of you. You receive the freedom to walk away from what only thrives on your overfunctioning. You receive the quiet dignity of no longer begging life to become something it is not. And yes, sometimes you also receive what you wanted all along, but in a form that can actually be held with open hands. That is important. Some things do come, some doors do open, some love does arrive, some opportunities do unfold. But when they come after surrender, they are often met differently. You are less hungry in the fearful way, less willing to self-abandon to keep them, less intoxicated by inconsistency, more rooted, more able to enjoy what is real, because you are no longer trying to use it to fill every wound at once. This is why surrender can feel like winning everything, not because you suddenly control outcomes, but because outcomes stop controlling your state of being. Read that again in your heart. Outcomes stop controlling your state of being. You become someone who can stay present, responsive, and self-honoring even while life is still unfolding. That is a profound shift. That is freedom. That is the kind of inner abundance no amount of forcing can manufacture. So tonight, or this morning, or whenever these words find you, let one thing become simpler. Let one door remain closed without breaking yourself against it. Let one uncertainty be unfinished. Let one unanswered question breathe. Let one desire exist without turning it into a crisis. Open your hands. Even for a moment, notice what your body does. Notice how much energy has been tied up in bracing. Notice the grief that may rise when you finally stop performing control. Notice the relief right beside it. Relief and grief often arrive together. One says, "This is sad." The other says, "This is over." Let both be true. And then keep going gently. Drink water, step outside. Put your phone in another room for 10 minutes. Say no where you usually overextend. Say yes to rest where you usually call yourself lazy. Tell the truth to yourself about what feels mutual and what feels merely familiar. Practice choosing what steadies you, not only what stimulates you. Let calm become attractive again. You do not need to become a different person overnight. You do not need to master surrender perfectly. You do not need to turn this into another performance where you anxiously try to be the best at letting go. That would be very on brand for the old pattern, would it not? Breathe. This is not a competition in graceful detachment. This is a return to yourself. A return to the part of you that knows love is not supposed to feel like constant negotiation. A return to the part of you that knows peace is productive in ways panic can never be. A return to the part of you that knows receiving is not laziness, it is readiness without force. And maybe that is the sentence I want to leave in your hands today. Receiving is readiness without force. Hold that close. Let it challenge the old training. Let it soften the places in you that still believe strain is the highest form of sincerity. Let it remind you that your life is not asking you to become harder in order to be worthy of what is good. It may be asking you to become more open, more honest, more rested, more willing to stop chasing what cannot love you back in peace. If this landed somewhere tender in you, stay with that tenderness. Let it teach you. Let it show you where you are tired, where you are ready, where you are still bargaining with reality, and where you are finally willing to open your hands. There is more wisdom in that softening than the world often admits. You do not lose by surrendering the fight. You lose less of yourself. And from there, my love, you can finally receive